Is it recording?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I didn't get a notice. Okay, there it is. Okay.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Christian. All right, good evening, everybody. This is the public meeting for the water main replacement project in the area of Bennington Avenue to James A. Reed Road, East 63rd Street to East 67th Street. Next slide, Christian. Just wanted to go over some logistics and protocols really quickly before we get started. First of all, this meeting is being recorded, and we will post the recording on the KC Water website in the next day or two. So if you missed any part of this, or if you have neighbors or other customers who wish to see this, it'll be on the website for viewing after this meeting. If you are joining us tonight on this virtual public meeting and you want to ask a question at any time during this presentation, feel free to ask your questions. There is a show conversation tab up at the top of the screen, and if you want to, you can raise your hand or you can type a question into the chat and we can respond to those questions as we see those. If at the end of the presentation you still have a question, we'll ask for questions at the end of the presentation, and then we'll also add Christian Hoyes' contact information. He's our KC Water Project Manager. Feel free to contact him at any time during this presentation or afterwards with any additional questions that you might have. All right, next, Christian. All right, just some quick introductions. My name is Melanie Jollitt. I'm the Water Distribution Division Head. We also have on the call with us Jeff Martin. He's our Chief Engineering Officer. We have Christian Hoyos. He's our Kansas City Water Project Manager. We also have, Morgan, I don't see his name up here, but from Kitsett Construction, we've got Morgan with us. He's going to represent our contractors on here. And I'm not sure if we have William Hank or Sean Allen with us, our inspector, but hopefully they'll be joining us in a little while. Okay, next, Christian. All right, so to kick us off, I'm going to turn this over to Jeff Martin, and he's going to give us a quick background on our water source and the utility, all the utilities that we serve here at Kansas City Water.
Thanks, Melanie. And looks like we just have one person joining us tonight on the phone, so feel free to jump in if you have questions as we go along. We can be a little more informal since we've got kind of light attendance, but usually like to take a little time to provide some information regarding KC Water and really here in Kansas, Missouri, and for all the services we provide, we always put a lot of focus on the river. So the Missouri River is our source of water. It affects everything we do, from the water we supply to the stormwater runoff that comes off our streets, and even the wastewater that is treated. So next slide. So here at KC Water, we're really three utilities in one. So whenever you receive a bill from us, you're actually getting billed not just for the water that you're utilizing and drinking. We also provide the wastewater service for you, and then we also handle the stormwater, basically the rainwater that falls on the streets throughout the city that ends up in the pipes and eventually goes to the tributaries, the creeks, and then ultimately into the Missouri River. So next slide really kind of talks about all the assets that we maintain to provide those services. So we actually have just one water treatment plant here in KCMO that provides all the drinking water for all our customers. But we do have about 18 pump stations to get that water pushed around throughout our service area, and over 2,800 miles of water mains to transport that water around. For the wastewater side, we actually have 6 wastewater treatment plants throughout the city, spread out both north and south of the river. And once again, another group of pump stations, about 43 pump stations to move that wastewater around, another 2,500 plus miles of pipes, lots of manholes, and other appurtenances in the streets. And then on the stormwater side of our utility, which a lot of people, is probably the least recognized one from our customers. So another 630 plus miles of storm sewer pipes in the ground, and then 46,000 inlets to collect that water. And then a lot of people don't realize we actually have 13 miles of levee that we maintain throughout the city. So mainly along Missouri River, Blue River, and a couple other the smaller tributaries throughout. So just kind of a quick overview of the utility as a whole. Then I'll turn it back over to Melanie to talk about the water main replacement program.
Thanks, Jeff. Oh, getting a little bit of feedback. There we go. Okay. So this, as I mentioned earlier, this is a water main replacement project. And really what we have here at Kansas City Water is an entire water main replacement program. And so I'm going to go over just kind of the background and give some tidbits about how we handle this water main replacement program. As Jeff mentioned, we have 2,800 miles of distribution system piping, and a lot of these pipes, some of these pipes date back to the 1800s. So we do have some aging infrastructure, and we do see, some breaks within that aging infrastructure. So about 8 years ago, Kansas City Water developed this water main replacement program, and the goal of this program is to replace about 1% every year of water mains within the city, and that equates to about 28 miles each year. So this project is part of this water main replacement program. We are in our 8th year, as I mentioned, and to date, we've replaced over 200 miles of aging infrastructure. Next slide, Christian. So how do we pick the projects that go into this program? We did purchase last year a new software called Info Asset Planner, and this software works with our GIS and data asset management system, and we're able to look at likelihood and consequence of failure of the water mains. So we're able to look at historical data of main breaks, material, age of the pipe, location of the pipe, demand, customers who are served off of this, individual segments of pipe. And through that, we're able to look at the likelihood and consequence of failure and establish a risk criteria, a risk score to that pipe. And so as we go through, each year we pick the highest risk, the pipes with the highest risk score, and we lump those into projects for our 28 miles that we replace. All of our projects are designed to have ductile iron pipe. They are zinc coated and wrapped in a polyethylene sleeve. So this means that the new pipes have about a 100-year lifespan, and so we should not see breaks in the future on the new pipes that we're replacing. The long-term infrastructure plan, it really does reduce service interruptions, because we should have less breaks, and it will reduce maintenance and operation costs, and also it increases capacity and fire protection. So what happens is a lot of times when you have cast iron pipes, they get a lot of residual on the inside of the pipe, and they get kind of tuberculated. So the inside diameter of the pipe is reduced. By replacing them with the ductile iron mains, we really get the full diameter size of the pipe that we're replacing. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Christian, and he's going to go into specifics on this project.
Well, good evening, everyone. This is Christian Hoyos, Project Manager, KC Water. So this project includes the replacement of approximately 1.7 miles. We will be replacing 7 segments. And as you can see here, this is the area that we will be working on. So in this street, A66, we'll be replacing about 1,200 linear feet. On Winchester Avenue, we will be replacing about 700 linear feet. Then we go here in the bottom on East 67th Street. We had about 2,000 linear foot that will be replaced. And East 66th Terrace, there will be about 500 linear feet. East 66th Street, we will be doing 1,300 linear feet. On Manchester Avenue, we will be doing approximately 700 linear feet. And finally, in this stretch here in James A. Reed, we will be doing 2,400 linear feet. As I mentioned again, it will be about 1.6 miles total. So this slide right here is what happens in your block. It's pretty much a linear description of how we replace a water main. So first, the contractor will locate and verify utilities in the area. Then traffic control will be implemented. And a couple of things I would like to point out here. So as a resident, you will always have access to your home. The traffic might be restricted to a single line temporarily. And if you, for some reason, are not able to drive to your house because there is an open trench or the contractor is there in the way, they will definitely facilitate a still place for you to drive on temporarily while the trenches fill. But they will be moving very fast, so this is a very extreme situation in most cases. Like mentioned before, the contrabolts will saw cut open the pavement, excavate a narrow trench, burn a new pipe and gravel. And then once it's time to connect the new pipe that is already in the ground, a temporary connection will be constructed, and then they will test and disinfect this new water main. This might take a week while we wait for the test results, but once the test results pass, and then we will see our first water shot. So I want to open a parenthesis here and and talk about water outages, so shutoffs. So you will experience as a minimal 3 water shuts or outages, and this will be a schedule, and you will be notified ahead of time that this will happen. And we will talk more about this individual as the presentation progresses. So the first outage, like mentioned, would be to connect one side of the pipe to the existing main. So that will be our first outages. After this is completed, then with both the new and the old water mains in service, the contractor will transfer the service to the new line. And if your meter is inside, we will relocate it and install a new one in your yard. And here is our second outage in order to connect your service line to the new main. And finally, we will construct a permanent connection and abandon the old water main. And here is where we're going to experience our third outage in order to connect the second end of the new main to the system main. So I also want to mention that there might be potential unplanned outages due to breaks or any other unforeseen issues, but we will work rapidly to restore the service as quickly as possible. And however, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that there is potential outages besides these 3 that we talk about. And finally here, restoration are both temporarily and permanent. We will restore curbs, sideways, driveways, and season allows any lawns that were disturbed during the process of the construction. So then what should we expect on this project? So there will be large equipment in use, creating noise and dusty conditions that will be controlled and kept to a minimum. Like mentioned before in the previous slide, the water service will be interrupted for short periods of time, and you will be notified beforehand with door hangers and any other means. So I just want to mention again the 3 outages that will be scheduled, but there might be unforeseen due to leaks or breaks during construction. Then after any affected curb, driveways, and other pavement will be restored per KCMO Public Works Department standards. Any disturbed established lawns will be sodded after the work is completed. And as the season allows, some areas might be also seeded. We mentioned the traffic control as well. Ordinary routes might be temporarily restricted or affected, but you will always have access to your street. And of course, we're doing all this to reduce the chance of water breaks in the future and to enhance fire protection. So we're doing this by replacing and installing new fire hydrants at least every 600 feet apart. Here, we're showing you a diagram of kind of how the connection looks like in your street. In this area, we have customers with water meters inside their homes and outside their homes as well. It's very few the ones that are inside, and therefore we're going to show these 2 diagrams representing these 2 situations. So in this first diagram, this one is up to the Water Service Department standards, and there are a couple of things that I want to point out here. First, we can see this, I want to point out this red line here, which represents the right of way, defining our customers represented responsibility and the city responsibility. Right next to it, we can see the curb stop valve, which is a fancy name to say this is a housing that is buried in the ground, and it's going to allow us access to the valve for the service line. And then we have the water meter that should be in your lawn outside your residence. Now, the second case, everything is the same. The only thing is that the water meter is inside your home. And if this is the situation for you, the contractor will contact you and schedule a plumber to remove the water meter from inside your home and install a new one in your lawn. So we are able to easy access the meter for maintenance and any other related issues. Then finally, I want to talk about schedule logistics. And these first two bullet points, I would like to have Morgan talk about a little bit about the schedule and when do they plan to start and what street, if you have any available information, Morgan.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We are planning on starting around the week of June 28th, approximately 2 weeks after next Monday. And we are planning on starting at 66th and Bennington. So.
All right. Thank you so much.
That is the plan as of right now.
That sounds good. And then for more information about this meeting,
Christian,
yes,
I'm sorry, this is Melanie. Just a quick question. So the schedule shows June to December 2021. Can you go into when we should see substantial completion, what that looks like? And then, because I think that December 2021 date is the final completion date. Can you go into substantial completion and when we should see that as well? Yes, ma'am.
So the June to December is when all the pipe should be installed and everything, all the service transfer and everything disinfected and functional 100%. Then we will have substantial completion, which will be 60 days after this. So it will be around February. And that's when any lawn that was disturbed, and if the season allows, then we will finish up whatever needs to be taken care of. And after that, we will move on to closing the project. And do we do any restoration on winter time?
Yeah, and Morgan can talk to this a little bit more, Christian, but it depends on, what type of restoration it is. I think we can get some asphalt done if it's not too cold. But if there's resodding of lawns, we probably would hold off on that until the springtime.
That's correct. We would be able to do a concrete and asphalt given proper weather conditions, but seeding and sodding probably have to wait till spring or warmer weather.
So this is good information. So you as a customer, you know that if your lawn is still not looking the greatest or up to your standards or the way it was before the project began, just make sure we had pictures, we have pre-construction pictures and showing how the lawn used to be. And whenever the season comes, when we're able to seed and sod, and we will make our best effort to restore the land to the pre-existing condition. Anything else you would like to add, Melanie?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Cool, thank you. So more information about this meeting. Mr. Grimaldi here in the meeting, he's with communications. He was kind enough to send a postcard invitation that has all information and all the content information about the people involved, the project managers, the contractor, and myself. So if you have any questions or any concerns, please make sure you contact us. My name again is Christian Hoyos. I'm the project manager for Casey Water, either by email or phone. Also, it's very cool that we have the KC Water website, kcwater.us, and you go into that website, you go on projects and current projects, and you will find another information sheet with the information relevant to this project, as well as a link to the recording of this presentation. So if you want to share it or you want to listen to it again and maybe get a little more information, so that's available as well. Again, that was my name. Superintendent for this project will be Brian Histon with Kissick. Project manager will be Spencer Moore and Morgan Slurry, which is in the call right now with us. And our KC Water inspector will be William Hack. So with that, any questions or any comments additional? Anybody in the line? We would love to hear from you.
So I'm looking at the chat. I'm not seeing any questions, and I'm not seeing any hands raised.
We have David and a phone number. So you guys would like to share?
I'm the guy on the phone.
So who's that again?
So I have one question. I'm on 66th Street, and we have had old telephone poles paired with new telephone poles. And this is relevant because I know my water line is very close to the pole. So when this water is exchanged with the lines, you guys plan to replace all the way up to the water shutoff on each residence?
Yes, that is correct.
So with a water shutoff line that's it's probably less than 12 inches from the pole, does that create any issues?
So they will actually, the contractor will work with the utility company who owns the poles to properly brace it and ensure that it's supported if needed. So depending on on where the new connection will be made, will kind of determine how large the hole has to be dug immediately next to that pole. So it may need some support or it may not, but they'll definitely work with that utility company for that. So.
Okay, so secondary question related to that. They never pulled out the original poles. They're just sitting empty next to the bigger pole. Is that in the works ever?
So that have to be followed up with the utility company that owns the poles. What you find many times is those poles are owned by the power company, but then they have additional utilities on them as well. So what the power company will do is they will come through and put in new poles, transfer their power service over to the new poles, and then they notify the other utilities that are connected to the old poles that they need to come in and transfer their utilities over. Sometimes that takes a while. So then once all that's
done years ago, and this is
interesting.
now 2 poles. One has wires on it, one does not. Nothing on it. It's just a bare pole.
Yeah, so
it could be removed.
Probably be worth contacting. Was it a power pole, KCPL?
It was a short pole that had everything on it, including power.
Yeah, so probably ultimately that used to be a KCPL pole. So probably best to reach out to now Evergy about that, and they would likely have a contractor come out and remove it. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeff.
Any other questions? No. Okay, well, as Christian mentioned, his contact information is still up there. So if you think of any other questions after this meeting ends, please feel free to give Christian a call or shoot him an email. And then, like Christian said, we'll have this recording posted on our website. So please revisit it if you need to get contact information again. So thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a good evening tonight.
Thank you all.
Thanks.